Welcome to Westchester Jewish Community Services. As a leading agency in providing a comprehensive spectrum of human services, we have been helping people since 1943. We serve all people in Westchester County, regardless of age, income, or ethnicity. We provide a wide variety of essential and dynamic services that make a difference in people's lives. Children, teens, adults, and senior citizens are served by our network of programs located throughout the county. When people come to us for assistance, they become part of the WJCS family. Our highly trained and skilled staff focus on you and your family and are committed to becoming your partner in finding solutions. For more than half a century, we have been connecting people to services that help them overcome mental, physical, or emotional challenges. WJCS is here in your community when you need us.
Welcome to the Ways We Care of Westchester Jewish Community Services. I'm Dale Wang, Director of Community Relations. WJCS is funded by government grants, private individuals, foundations, UJA Federation, United Way, and corporations. School is the centerpiece of a child's life. Increasingly, however, school is becoming not only a place for academic and social growth, but a comprehensive center that addresses the mental health, recreational, and environmental factors affecting the child and the family. Over the past several years, WJCS has partnered with school districts and other local service providers to implement a broad range of programs funded by county, state, and federal grants. Aimed at strengthening all the factors that can impact a student's prospects for achievement, these programs reach out to community, school, and family to establish a network that supports learning and healthy development. Tonight we are looking at the status of school-based services and the variety of opportunities that these supports offer to children, families, and communities. And to talk about some of the directions that we're moving in school-based services, we're going to be talking in this segment with Megan Flynn, who is our Director of School-Based Mental Health Programs. Welcome, Megan. And Mary Figueroa, who is the coordinator of the Advantage After School program. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
And Alan Frazier, who is a parent with a child in the Advantage program. Welcome, Alan. Thank you all for joining us. So, Megan, over the past several years, you've been a guest on this program before. We've talked about school-based services, but we really have evolved. And maybe you could give a little bit of background about why school-based services have come to be and where we are today in that direction.
Well, I think that the role of schools has broadened in terms of being a potential center for access for children and families and youth to a whole range of services. There's been both a national movement and a federal thrust as well as a county interest in developing what are called enhanced programs in schools, and they run the range of after-school programs which enrich, enhance learning, social skills, work-related opportunities, and can be provided for students from preschool age all the way through high school, to a full range of strengthening programs that help enhance and protect students from the stressors we all face in life over time, and it's called resiliency building programs, and they run the gamut from mentoring programs, which WJCS has been involved in, to more directed mental health services that really sort of try to intervene early and provide support so that what are little problems early in life don't in fact get in the way of learning or social skills and peer relations, to more intensive what we call wraparound mental health services. And WJCS, along with other providers, has been involved in the full gamut of those kinds of services with districts.
Mm-hmm. And how does it work? A school district, I guess schools used to provide some types of services with counselors and school psychologists, things like that. What is the difference now in terms of bringing in outside providers for some of these services?
Well, schools, all of the programs work very closely with school pupil personnel departments, and that can be psychologists, counselors, social workers. The difference is now that rather than having to connect families with services outside the school for some of the components, that they actually are centered right in a school building. It makes it a lot easier for families and for students, and really centers everything in the community and the school. Many of the programs are also located in schools that have medical clinics as well, so that you get both education as one component of a collaboration, as well as medical services, and then both after-school childcare and supported learning programs and mental health as well.
Why are communities moving in this direction? Does it seems to be a growing trend, and we certainly have had more grants for this type of service over the past 3-4 years. What's the reasoning behind it?
Well, one of the reasons is clearly that it makes things much more accessible and friendlier. I mean, schools are a location where students spend a significant portion of their time. Families often intersect with schools in a variety of ways. There's been increasing need for after-school programs, both because of families' work-related schedules and because it provides extra opportunities for a range of enhanced services to children as well. There has also been an increasing move to do that because some of the more community-based services, for example, located in schools or in other community sites, tend to provide a broader range of services and are actually, in some cases, increasingly proved to be more effective and successful at ensuring the delivery of those services.
When we spoke earlier in the week, we were talking about the different components: enrichment, buffering, protective, and preventive.
Right.
And maybe you could elaborate a little bit about what some of these aspects are and what it means to be buffering a child or a family in a school environment.
I mean, I think some of these things are common sense mechanisms that parents have known about and other service providers and educators, which is we know really clearly what some of the factors are that are good for all kids at all ages, and connections with family, connection with schools, connection with community, and that in fact that we can all work as adults and as community providers to ensure that we maximize those kinds of factors in the lives of children, because as they go forward, they actually work like protective mechanisms, because we all have stress. Some of us have more, some of us less, but we all go through those periods, and those factors, when they're built into the lives of children, actually protect them over the course of a lifetime. It doesn't ensure that you don't have stressors, but it does help to protect students as well. We also know a lot more about what actually works if you really step in and provide adequate support, whether it's mental health or learning-related services early in the lives of children, and provide supportive mechanisms for families. I think all of us who are parents have needed a lot of support in raising children. And so the easier and the more comfortable that is to actually access that, and schools are a great place to do that. For students who may have early emerging learning, mental health, social skills needs, this provides great opportunities to support the school in their work, and actually there are better educational outcomes, both in terms of number of kids who actually get through regents, to buffering and protective factors that help support all students in a preventative way, and also to intervening early to ensure that smaller problems don't become stumbling blocks for students or for families. So it runs that full range. It also ensures that children who may have more significant challenges remain with their school systems. That's a cost savings for the schools, and it's also effective in terms of families keeping their children with them in their communities, in their schools, and ensuring that that's where the services are provided.
Could you give an example of how a case might work? How someone is, maybe the referral process, and then how you would work with a child in a family who is identified as being in need.
Usually in the schools, all of the programs that are mental health oriented try to really intersect with how the school and the community operate. So often referrals initially come through pupil personnel staff if students are identified as being in need of a range of services or any single service. And that usually, as a program remains in a school, becomes so well integrated that parents walk through the door on their own, kids come in and knock on the door and ask for whether it's an after-school program or it's a mental health service. And then there's a process of meeting with a family and when appropriate, relevant school personnel or community people to determine what it is that a parent or guardian feels is really going to be helpful and supportive, and then finding the means to provide that service. It could be social skills, it could be academic, it could be mental health related, it could be family stressors and support for tough periods for families to get through. And then really wrapping those services around or targeting a particular support service and working, again, the opportunity to work with an educational system, with community providers, with family, and with mental health all together, as opposed to fragmented, which has often been the way services have been provided in the past. So it makes it a much closer fit, and that families have a voice and a role in that as a driving force.
If you have identified that parents are in need of counseling, or if there's abuse in the family, and it's not necessarily the child who is the issue, is there a mechanism within the schools to deal with that?
Yes, absolutely, in terms of linking and referring, connecting families to those kinds of services that are going to be supportive for anyone in the family, whether that's the parent, a child. Often we have families come in and they have younger siblings, and something may be happening there that a family hasn't had support for. Or if there has been a domestic violence issue, to work closely with the family to ensure that those services go in place through whatever community resource provider is going to be most appropriate.
Okay. I want to move a little bit, and you are based in the school, and most of those services happen during the school day. So I want to talk a little bit about Mary's program, which is an after-school program and not as mental health oriented as maybe educational support and some other aspects. Mary, give a little bit of a description of the Advantage After School program and where your grant funding comes from. And
all right. The Advantage After School program is a government grant that and it's over the agency that oversees it is the Office of Child and Family Services, the state of New York. And then, of course, Westchester Jewish Community Services is the lead agency, and the host school is the Edward Williams School in Mount Vernon. The program offers a range of educational, recreational, and social skills building activities that support and enhance the positive resources of the children that are in the program. During the week, during any specific day, the first activity that we have is the snacks for the children. So of course,
that must be a very popular activity.
So as soon as they're released from school, they go right down into the cafeteria. They have their snack, and of course they have to wash their hands first, because we also teach them some pro-social skills. And then they have their snack. After they do that, they go upstairs to the classroom, where they will have academic assistance, homework assistance. And that period usually lasts an hour. And after that, the groups are divided into different activities. And the activities that we offer are gym. We also have computers. We have cooking 3 days a week. In addition, we have games and also arts and crafts. And we have several partnerships, collaborations with the Pelham Art Center, and we have an artist in residence program. So we have an artist that comes in. We started our first the first artist activity started this Friday, and it's an artist who has showed the children how to make dolls, and she's from Cameroon, in Africa. And the children really like that. And of course, after the activity, the children have made these beautiful little dolls that they take home. And we'll have something else for the boys, but that's a 8-week activity. Then after, we have just our regular games, aside from board games, that the children will engage in. We also have a partnership with Westchester Reformed Temple, and we have several children that come in during the week. That will actually start next week on the 28th, and they will tutor the children one-on-one in reading and in some of their math skills. We also have a lot of field trips this year, and I'm very proud to say, because through our private foundation, we will be taking 30 children to see The Lion King, a Broadway play. We also will be going to the Neuberger Museum. We did that last year, and the children really, really enjoyed that, and part of it was very interactive with the children, because they were able to play different types of instruments from other countries and storytelling. That's another part of our program, the storytelling for the younger children. And we also, trying to think, we did a nutrition program. So we have a lot of different activities for the children.
There's so much going on. And I was down at the school, and it's such a vibrant center. You had mentioned when we spoke earlier that the guidelines of the grant included that you decrease absenteeism, increase academic performance, build self-esteem, develop social skills, and teach the children to make better choices. How do you accomplish these goals? You know, the programming sounds like fun.
Yes.
How do you accomplish these very specific kinds of goals within that framework?
Well, in terms of absenteeism, the research indicates that children who are in the quality after-school program, they see a decrease in absenteeism, because the children know that there is a continuum of the day. And so we have a lot of children who just look forward to the after-school program after class. In fact, we had one incident where a child was sick during the day, and then he came to the after-school program.
He wasn't that sick. He was sick for school. We don't have that work.
Yeah, but it does. We have a very high percentage of students. Our average daily attendance, out of 100 students last year, we averaged about 92%. So we have very few children that did not, continue from the day. And we also, there are other outcomes in terms of academic assistance. What we found is that some of the students who are having some difficulty with their reading or math, we assign a specific tutor and one-on-one, and these children have that reinforcement every week, sometimes twice a week, and there is steady growth. And there's a link between the day and the after-school program, where we collaborate with the teachers, we get feedback, we check their report cards, and we also get the parents involved so that we know exactly what needs to be done for the children or where their weaknesses are, and we work on that. We've also instituted the Second Step program, thanks to Dr. Flynn here, because we were all trained with that, and that program is a pro-social skills building program. It's an excellent program for the children. The teachers can implement it. It's not difficult, and so they go through some character building during the week. Each group will have instructions in that particular program, and we see that the children do very well. In terms of the types of choices, they present them with specific types of scenarios, and then ask the children what they can do, what would have been a better outcome, and they talk through the various situations that they're presented with. And so it teaches them.
Your program is not targeted only for at-risk children in the school. You're open to most of the school children. How does that work in terms of targeting the students who really might be in need?
What will happen is that the social worker or the school psychologist, this year we do not have a social worker at the school, and we have not continue with the social worker in our program, which we are waiting for someone to be assigned that position. What happens is that the psychologist will make a referral to the principal, and the principal and I will sit down and discuss exactly what the child might need. And then we will work with the social worker or the psychologist, and in addition give them additional support through the Second Step program, and try to minimize some of those at-risk behaviors.
So you do try to accommodate
Yes,
the
we try
children
to.
who have a greater risk
Yes.
to include them in the program.
It's just very difficult because we're only permitted to take 125 students through the grant. I have a waiting, I have over
Mary's not good at
225.
Mary makes a lot of exceptions.
Yes, I do.
I don't know if we're going to have time, but I wanted
Yes.
to talk about your 6th grade program. But I
Yes.
want to talk to Alan
Okay.
first, because Alan has the benefit of having a son in the program.
Yes.
And what was important to you about having your son enrolled in this after-school activity?
Well, it was important to me because, well, now they have another place to go. You know, it's very important that they have after-school programs and things of that nature because it gives them something else to do. My son was getting into a lot of trouble. You know, like in my community, there's not that many things for the children to do. But with the after-school program, now they can, you know, go there and pretty much have other opportunities to do other things and to not be in so much trouble. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. Everyone's nervous.
Yeah. You know.
Were you able to select, how did you encourage your son to participate, or did he really want to do it?
He wanted to do it. Just like she was just saying, like before he, you know, when they go to school, they have certain things that they want to do. But and when going to the program, it's he wants to be there. You know what I mean? He wants to be there. It's not like it's a school thing. They have a certain amount of time to do their homework, so it's not like they got to do everything their homework before they finish. Then they can go on with activities and things that they want to do, so that makes it easier for him. To do that.
What have you been involved? Obviously, Mary was able to get
Yes.
you to come join us on the program. What's been your involvement as a parent in
Well-
terms of the after-school activities?
Yes, I'm working with Mary. We work in a compact team together, in which we do with the hiring of the teachers and different positions into the school. I'm also on the PTA. I'm the president of the PTA at the school, so we work a lot with the teachers and the different things of the schools that we're working with.
What benefit do you feel that there is for a school district to have an outside agency like WJCS bring a program like this into the school?
I'm very happy with it because, like I said, it gives them other, you know, it opens up doors for them, you know, which they didn't have too many doors that were open to them in the community. There's not too many things there for them, and that gives them some place to be at, you know, and to pretty much where they want to be.
Right, right. What grade is your son?
Alan's in the 2nd grade.
Uh-huh.
And he's doing well. He's doing very good.
Uh-huh. Right. So, Mary, you've been including a lot of different elements in the after-school activities, but you mentioned this year that you had to break into 6th graders and bring your
Yes.
6th graders back, and I was interested in that because it really becomes a continuum for the kids to take what
Yes.
they've learned and do something more with it. Talk just for a minute about that.
Well, the 6th graders that I selected this year, they have siblings in the program, so I try to accommodate some of the students because otherwise they'd have to be at home by themselves. So what we developed was a counsel and training program. So what they have to do, they're assigned specific duties, and they also are assigned to be with specific grades, not in the grade that their sibling is in, though. So they work with the teacher. They have to do their homework at the same time the rest of the students do their homework. But then after that, they are assigned to the group, and they go with that group to each activity. So they have 2 activities after they have their homework hour. And at that time, they will assist the teacher or the group leader in getting the games, getting the toys, and they have to bring them back and put them up properly. They clean up, they help the children clean up afterwards and make sure the seats and everything are put back together, no papers, and we go through all of that. And after snack time, that with their particular group, they help the children clean off their tables and
so it gives them a little bit of
Yes,
responsibility.
it does.
And you had mentioned that they were going to get special training for this
Yes,
as well.
they will be getting some training through Ramapo Training Institute for Youth Assistance, so which would help them. And also, by them being in the program this year, when they go into the middle school, they'll be ready to transition right into the after-school program in the middle school. I can give the directors or facilitators of that program their names, and they will, continue and perhaps come back and work.
Great, great. Alan, you said you had other children as well. Do you have some who've gone through this program too?
I had my daughter, she didn't go through the program last year. My son was in the program. I have 6 children, and most of my children have went through the school and the program, and I still have children that haven't got there as of yet, but every steps, I have children in every different age groups.
Right, so we hope that this
Yes.
funding, which I hope is funded
Continues.
for 5 years,
Yes,
will accommodate more
I
of your
hope
children.
so. It's a very good program.
Okay, Megan, we just have 2 minutes left. When a school district engages WJCS, they also have the benefit of the other resources of the agency. Can you talk a little bit about how that works once they've gotten connected to
Right.
us?
Well, it allows us to really share those resources with the broader community, the school community itself, and the community of families in a particular school or district. It allows us to access a full range of services for families, including we have programs for mothers and children at home with infants and toddlers. We have bereavement programs. We have support programs for families that may be dealing with chronic illness or terminal illness. We have domestic violence programs. We have programs for children who may have been sexually abused or for adult victims of sexual abuse. So we have a learning center that provides all kinds of resources and supports both for adults, youth, and children. So we have those tools at our disposal throughout the agency and tap into those for families.
And just because it is the holiday time of year, the children who are in our programs often get some benefit from our holiday gift drives too.
As well, yes. And some of the programs have benefactors who provide additional support, financial support for families, and some programs have wraparound funds as well as drives for families who may not have the funds to provide gifts over the holidays for their children. So that's something on an as-needed basis that's available as well.
Right. If a school district wants to get in touch with you to arrange this, which we hope that they do, how should they reach you?
They can reach WJCS directly, which you'll provide the number later. And my name again is Megan Flynn. I'm the director of the agency's school-based mental health programs. My number is 914-962-5593, extension 25, and I would be...
Okay, say that just a little slower.
You know, too fast. No, I welcome.
Okay.
I'll go slower. 914-962-5593, extension 25, and we really do welcome the calls. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for districts, communities, and families to join together.
Okay. And Mary, your program can't be accessed by anyone other than people at the
Yes.
Edward Williams School, but we do thank you for everything you're putting together, and Alan for sharing your
Thank you.
child and your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I also want to thank the people of Westchester Reformed Temple who I know
Yes.
have really enriched that program, and the people who've provided funding on a private basis. We will continue this program talking about 21st century grants that are providing school-based services in some of our other schools and some of the programs that benefit from those funds. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Ways We Care of Westchester Jewish Community Services. I'm Dale Wang, Director of Community Relations. WJCS is funded by government grants, private individuals, foundations, corporations, UJA Federation, and United Way. Tonight we are discussing school-based programs run by WJCS that address comprehensive needs of children and families. As pressures increase on contemporary families, schools have begun to integrate mental health, academic, and enrichment services to enhance children's total experience of learning and development. In our first segment, we discussed some of the school-based programs in the mental health area, and we took a look at Advantage After School in the Mount Vernon Elementary School. In this segment, we're going to focus on two additional programs, one that focuses on student learning and tutoring, and another that emphasizes youth development in an after-school program. Both have broader implications and ramifications for children and their families. I'd like to introduce to you Terry Lanigan, who is our Director of YCL Programs and now 21st Century Programs.
Yes, I do.
Welcome, Terry.
Thank you.
Also a veteran of some of these TV shows. And Sandy Ocasio, who is the coordinator of the Community School Initiative and the 21st Century Programs.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Christine Izzo, who is site director for Off the Street program.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you. We're a little bit discombobulated because we changed things around, but I think this will work quite well. Terry, since the mid-1990s, the YCL programs began operating in the schools, and maybe that was almost one of our first school-based ventures. And they were directed to helping at-risk adolescents. Could you give us a little bit of history, how these programs that began in one way have sort of evolved into the offerings that are much more comprehensive and inclusive today?
It's an interesting issue, Dale. The last 10 years have proved to focus on different areas of youth development. Our programming here is primarily connected to pre-adolescent and adolescent work as opposed to earlier in today's segment where you had younger children. The Youth Consultation League had been an independent agency until 1993 when it became part of WJCS. YCL was primarily focused on serving the needs of pregnant and parenting teen girls, often in residences outside of school. And then as the years progressed, while YCL maintained its independence, it became more involved in providing school-based counseling services to youngsters in different school districts. When YCL became part of WJCS, it came into a larger network of collaborations and affiliations with both school districts and community-based agencies. So in 1998, we began the Young Parents Achieve program, which is in affiliation with Phelps Memorial Hospital and additional medical and school districts to continue to provide services in a more timely and comprehensive manner to this targeted group of youngsters, pregnant and parenting kids. And then we had the opportunity, with the primary focus of United Way and Verizon being interested in community school development, to initiate a program at the Sleepy Hollow Middle School, which we were fortunate enough to have Sandy Ocasio become the coordinator of. The Community School Initiative has been very active over the last probably upwards of 20 years in developing a whole theoretical framework of how youngsters and families can become more tied into the school as a means of improving academic functioning, social functioning, and expanding recreational opportunities. Mm-hmm. So one of the nicest things about our involvement at the Sleepy Hollow Middle School in that early time of development is that the district is a wonderful collaborator, and we've worked well together. Sandy has done an outstanding job, resulting in our expansion of that program into a high school after-school program, which has a whole series of challenges of its own.
And just starting. You're just
That is just
that
beginning this
program.
year. Yes.
You had mentioned when we spoke earlier in the week that there are certain aspects of youth development. You mentioned 40 aspects of youth development that if you can improve upon those different aspects and you can encourage a youth to explore these areas of oneself, that the prospects for positive opportunities and positive growth are greater. Could you talk a little bit about that? Tell us how that works.
One of the biggest changes that I've seen over my time in social work and dealing with adolescents is a conceptual shift from focusing on what kids don't have to focusing on what kids do have. And the Search Institute, a major national research institute that's done extensive studies on what constitutes success for young people from a strength-based approach. And towards that end, they found primarily 40 basic assets that if youngsters have access to and are involved in, are good, provide a good prognosis for their future success as adults. And those include kids' participation in after-school programming, obviously in involvement in community service activities, religious activities, an acknowledgement that there's 2 to 3 people in their lives that care about them and follow their successes. They don't necessarily have to be natural parents. They can be teachers. They can be counselors. But obviously, what we do in our programming is attempt to enable kids to have a sense of themselves in the future and work with their parents and with their families and with their communities to expand their sense of themselves and their potential for their future.
All right, let's take a look at the program per se and what we're actually offering, and then come back and look at what its goals might be. Sandy, I've been so impressed with the CSI program and now the expansion into the 21st century. What is the focus of this program, and how do you actually implement your goals in trying to put together activities that students will take advantage of during the after school hours?
Well, we also have programs that run throughout the school day and as well as the after school. I think that I like to bring programs that are of interest to our students and that enhances their self-esteem and that just support the general academics in some way. We have a learning center that provides tutoring. We have enrichment programs that provides the students with just hands-on activities, as well as teaching them about diversity and just being part of a community, being able to just have a different environment during the after school. But basically, we try to provide the students with various services that are just fun for them to be, part of.
And I think one of the amazing aspects of it, you have the academic supports of the Learning Center, but these enrichment activities they're fun. Camp Fit, Excite, some of these programs, and maybe you can elaborate on them, but they're also providing real learning in a hands-on, experiential way.
That's correct.
I was especially impressed. You have the Excite program and the Camp Fit program. Can you explain how these programs that look like they're just fun actually turn into learning experiences?
These programs are thematic in some way. I'll take the IBM Excite program, of which is part of my summer program. Our program runs through the summer. We run 6-week summer programs. And we work toward a project of which students get involved, and then we have an outcome. Now with the IBM Excite Camp, the idea is to spark interest to our 7th grade girls. We actually have an enrollment process that they need to follow. So therefore they have to, they're referred, they have to write an
application.
An
essay.
application process, right, an essay of which tells me why they will want to be part of this program. Once we've selected 10 candidates, they go through this extensive 1-week training where their interest, we're trying to spark their interest in engineering research, in careers of engineering research, and as well as research. And then we combine them with mentors who are in these professions and who connect with them via email throughout the school year, and so they can continue their interest in these fields. But the outcome of this is that they also work on a Lego project, and that they actually put together their engineering skills, and it's a great program. And we work in collaboration with IBM. They're the sole creator of this program, and they actually approach our school so that we can take part of this amazing program. Now, Can't Fit is and the idea sparked from the obesity issues that we have nationwide, and I wanted to bring awareness to our students on how to eat healthy and how to work out, keep fit in a healthy way, not so much building muscle. But the idea is that we teach our students. We have 60% of the population in our school is of Latino descent, and they are not used to reading labels and or know the food pyramid.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure that we bring this awareness to the school, so students were not identified this time around. Actually, during the summer, we took in open enrollment to see how many students would be interested in such a program. And we had 10 students participate in a dual program. We collaborated with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, where the students actually had a hands-on experience preparing foods from the food pyramid. And then we also collaborated with the YMCA, and students had access to their facilities. And this program was 4 days a week during the summer. We were very fortunate that this program is now being offered throughout the school year through another grant that was granted to us by the Westchester Community Foundation. And now we're able to provide the services to identify students who may need, just more awareness as to healthy eating and living a healthy lifestyle.
Now, there are a variety of things. You're doing something at Phillipsburg Manor, you're doing something with film. There are all opportunities for looking at different kinds of careers. But the purpose of the grant, the 21st Century Grant, are there goals within that grant that then are implemented through this type of programming? Is there a particular goal that the grant is looking to develop leadership skills or academic skills? Is there something within the grant that has a directive?
Definitely. We have. Definitely, we identify what we would like to see the outcomes, and leadership skills certainly is one of them. Building character, another, but most importantly is to help the students succeed academically, and that they have a general understanding of diversity, and certainly, I don't know if you want to add
Yes,
to
we've
that
certainly,
as well.
our primary goals in 21st century and CSI, which is part of the reason that we've been able to integrate these two together, is A, to improve the academic functioning of the kids in the program, particularly for those who are identified to be in need of that. Secondly is to increase the family's sense of connectedness to the school. Thirdly, we look for kids to be able to have an expanded cultural experience. You had mentioned the Jacob Burns Film Festival, where over the last several years kids have been participating in international filming programs, excuse me. Phillipsburg Manor, where they're learning about African American experiences and how slavery contributed to the development of different communities in Westchester. So we're looking for increased tolerance, for kids to experience increased tolerance, a sense of the school being home.
A community.
Right. And to really feel that school can be a very positive experience, as well as a sometimes challenging and just a titch restrictive experience sometimes.
Right. Okay. Sandy, you also participate, and then we're going to move on to talk about off the street. Participate in some of the school discussions with teachers, and so there's a collaboration back and forth if a child is at risk or is in need of special attention. What is your role in working with the teacher?
Well, I take part in the child study team meetings weekly, where students are certain their issues are discussed or they're identified, and it gives me an opportunity to also make positive comments. I'd say I think students, have many different types of at-risk. To me, at-risk is a very broad term. When they come to my program, the idea is that we establish a relationship at a different level. And I come back to these meetings, and I also put my 2 cents and sort of speak out as to, how this child has developed. And I think this relationship with the staff, with the teachers, administrators, gives us an opportunity to be part of their team, and to feel that we too have an impact, on in these students'
Well,
lives.
I think there's also a tremendous asset in having the after-school programs, which are not all academic-based, and which really can bring out the strengths and skills and talents in a very different way. So you are adding to that entire picture of what a child is bringing to school and taking away from school.
Absolutely.
So that's great. Christy, your program's a little bit different. I want to just say your programs are open to all the kids in the school.
Yes, they are.
And they are free.
Yes, they
Right.
are.
So, and your program, is that open to all the kids in your school?
Yes, well, our program is also free, and it's open to children in the Hamilton School. We do go largely by teacher referrals, so we are taking the children that tend to fall, they can fall in between the cracks because they're not necessarily failing, but they're not really excelling. And so we take those, middle of the road students and try and help them function, more effectively within and outside of the classroom.
Let's back up a little bit and talk about the structure of the Off the Street program and how it relates to the WJCS Learning Center, which is also based in the school to help kids who are having academic difficulties.
Sure. Well, Off the Street is a program that trains high school students to mentor and tutor elementary school students. So the tutoring piece is really where the Learning Center comes into play, and we have one of the Learning Center supervisors on staff, and she's there to help the tutors as they develop a curriculum and help them really focus on the needs of each individual student and, kind of design a plan for the year. The other piece is the mentoring piece. And that's also affected by the Learning Center because especially over the last few years, the roles of mentor and tutor have really become a lot more similar. We expect that the mentors are also helping the children to do better, in school, and they are working on their homework on a daily basis. So they need those skills as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, your program is unique because you're really taking young children and children in the high school, and you are showing the young children how some of the people in their community have succeeded and are coming back to give back to the community. How do you select the young people who are going to be your mentors and tutors, and what are your expectations for that group of teenagers who are going to have an impact on the younger ones?
Well, initially, the first thing is that they need to live in Mount Vernon. That's a key component to the program, that these kids are working with teenagers who may live down the block from them, they may live next door to them, and that's really a key piece to it. So they need to live in Mount Vernon, they need to be at least 14 years of age, and they need to be carrying a C or better average. So that's the initial selection process just in order for them to apply to the program. And then they receive training over the summer. There's 8 hours of training that we provide them with, which is general working with children, methods of how communication and, all the basic skills that they would need. And based on their written work that they do within that training program and their willingness to participate and how eager they are and some other criteria that we look at, then we decide who we're going to invite back for an additional 4-hour training in the fall. And from there, we pick however many adolescents we need for the coming year.
Mm-hmm. How many of the young students do you generally have in the program?
We have about 45 registered, and we see about 30 of them a day. They are involved in other tutoring programs within the school and other things outside of the school as well. So typical attendance is about 30 children a day.
Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned that the pressures on the children are so much greater now, at both ends actually, but especially the youngsters who are in the elementary schools with the increased emphasis on standardized testing and things like that. How does that impact what your program is focusing on during those after-school hours?
Well, one of the things that I'm really proud of about the program is that we really change what we do on a daily basis as well as on a yearly basis depending on the needs of the children. The children were expressing an increased amount of anxiety due to the work that they were given and homework and testing that was coming up. So we spent more time in the past year or so working on homework, not because we saw it as a need, but because they saw it as a need. And so
you also mentioned that you had to put back more physical activity into the program.
Yes.
So on the one hand, they're sitting and doing more homework,
right.
But on the other end...
Right, which is hard because it's a short day. It's a short day in after school, and we really try and get it all in there. And we felt that it's a long day. These kids are coming to school early in the morning, and they're working hard all day, and then they come to us, and we're working more homework. Then after we work on their homework, we may focus on study skills that they need, and if they're working with a tutor, they're working on those academic skills where they're struggling. So at the end of the day, due to some additional funding that we received mid last year, we were able to add a half an hour onto the program day and set that aside for non-homework related activities. So some recreational stuff.
Okay, well that's great. And you are based only at the Hamilton School in Mount Vernon?
Yes, we are only at the Hamilton School, and that's where we select the children from.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I will add that we do have our Learning Center activities in many of these programs and many of these school districts, and that people who have children with academic difficulties can hook into those not only in the schools but through our clinics in many of the services. Terry, just let's we only have 2 minutes left. In terms of the benefits to a school district, I mean, obviously we have these 21st century grants that are targeted to particular schools, or the school district works with us to get the grant. But what is the benefit of having, as I asked Megan earlier, having a WJCS incorporated in this grant and working with the school district to provide this type of enrichment and enhancement of services?
One of the things that I've been so taken by in working with and collaborating with the district superintendent and administrators, the principal of the schools, the assistant principal of the schools, the teachers, is that these professionals want to provide a richer experience, and they have tremendous restrictions as well. Wouldn't you agree, Sandy?
I do.
You know, that there's testing is a primary issue, academic performance, and, you know, this area and that area and so forth. And they're very well aware that the extracurricular opportunities that might have been available to you and I, Dale, of music and art and gym every day and all of those kind of things are not available to kids. At this point, free time is rearranged to increase academic exposure, either in literacy or in math and so forth. So I think that school districts are very interested in trying to expand the experience of the kids in their district, and that they're both appreciative of it and put forth very positive, interesting ideas with interesting goals.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Well, you are definitely all implementing very interesting programs. I wish I were back in the school and being able to take advantage of some of the things that you're doing, Sandy, because I think they're so really exceptional. And the opportunities you have for youth and young children to grow and expand and influence each other is really exceptional. So thank you for all that you do, and we hope that other school districts that are watching will call on us and ask to be partners. I'm sure you have plenty of time to influence. If you are interested in getting in touch with WJCS about any of these programs, please give us a call at 761-0600. Thank you and good night.